Greetings, Star Wars fans, and welcome to the dark side. This is a very special Inquisitors inspired episode of Universe Expanding Books and Toys. I've mentioned in videos before that I have been doing exclusive videos where I explain comic book and book content to the community of Star Wars collectors Facebook group. And I did one last week on the Inquisitors. Like I said, about 35 minutes to 45 minutes, very in-depth discussion. I don't want to do that for YouTube or Instagram. I want to do a quick rundown of the Inquisitors. So that's what I've designed for you today. I've gone through the books, the comics, the video games, and the action figures. I think there's maybe one Inquisitor action figure I don't have, and that's the Fifth Brother Rebels version. So let's go through them from beginning to end. First off, I will say, I don't know if there's a first brother, first sister. Who knows? The Grand Inquisitor may be considered the first brother, but it's not been established yet. So I wanted to give a quick rundown of them in order. So, as you know from Kenobi, this is the Grand Inquisitor. He is the leader of all the Sith Inquisitors, run by Darth Vader himself, to capture any Force-sensitive beings, be they ex-Jedi or not. And the thing about the Inquisitors is they're all Force-sensitive. Most of them are ex-Jedi. Most of them are Padawans who rejected the Clone Wars in some way or somehow survived Order 66 by showing allegiance to the Emperor and Darth Vader. That's where they all came from. Grand Inquisitor is no different. There is the retro version of the Grand Inquisitor to make it look like the 70s and 80s figures, which is very cool. And this is how I'm used to seeing the Inquisitor in this form with the elongated skull look. I don't particularly like that they changed the look for the Obi-Wan series, but I get it. Like the Rebels, every character is an exaggeration of what they really look like, so it makes sense. His backstory is that he was... Oh, that's not the right comic. That's the right comic. There he is, right on the front, too. His backstory is that he was a Jedi Guardian. And there he is, awing at them with their yellow sabers and their really, really cool masks, and you will know them from Clone Wars. However, he, of course, becomes the Grand Inquisitor. We all know that. And there he is with a couple of the Inquisitors we're about to talk about. Alright, so that's the Grand Inquisitor. He was in Kenobi, Rebels, the Darth Vader comic book, and various other things here and there, but that's the most important part. Did I say Clone Wars or Rebels? I think I said Rebels, but if not, I meant Rebels. He was not in Clone Wars at all. He is a Disney-era creation exclusively, which at first I was like, do we need, like, these Sith characters when there's a rule of two? Yeah, we absolutely did. I absolutely love them. So, if he's the first brother, here's the second sister, who you will know from the Fallen Order video game. Unfortunately, it's hard to get a picture of her, an image of her face, but that mask doesn't come off. That was released before the game came out, or right as the game came out. They didn't want to, expose who the real character was. And of course, in the Darth Vader comic book, we're going to look at some of those. You don't really see her. You never see her without the mask. Only in the video game do you see her without the mask and find out who she is. Hey, speak of the devil. There's the Dark Temple Jedi Fallen Order series. The reason I bring this up is because even though it takes place in the past, the second sister is the narrative part of that where she's searching for this information. And, spoiler alert, her former master. So, 1, 2, number 3, Reva. The very interesting character who became an Inquisitor just to defeat Darth Vader. There's her Black series and her retro version. A very, very cool character, and basically one of the main characters in that series, which I thought was really, really cool. Reva, the third sister, I really want to know more about her. There was a rumor she was going to get her own show. I don't think it's going to happen, but I would love to see that. She's number 3. Number 4, the fourth sister, also from Kenobi. A very interesting character because nothing is known about her. She is not from the comics. She's appeared in no books. She's only from the Kenobi series. And there she is, because I believe if you can't see an action figure or a toy in a package, you gotta take it out. So there she is. Very cool, mysterious alien character. I really hope there are plans to expand that character down the line. That was the 4th. 5th, brother. And there he is, the 5th brother. Not only from Obi-Wan Retro, but the Obi-Wan series. This character was actually also in Rebels. There is a Rebels 5th brother action figure that I just don't have. But he's a very cool character, imposing, large, a very cool guy. So, let's see, the 6th brother is an interesting one because he is from the Ahsoka novel. This is a YA novel. It's very good. Not a lot of action, but when the action does happen, it is involving her. You know, she's got those white blades. You only get a white blade by bleeding a Sith red crystal back to the light. And this is the story of that happening. He does appear in the Darth Vader comics, and we're going to see him shortly. But he is from that Ahsoka book, and a very cool character. So, he was the 6th. The 7th, who has not had a Black Series figure yet, but I really want it, is the 7th sister from Rebels. There she is with Maul. The best thing about this character, in my opinion, is she's voiced by Sarah Michelle Gellar, who you may know as Buffy the Vampire Slayer. If you're a 90s kid, you know Buffy and know how cool she is. And she's also the real-life wife of Freddie Prinze Jr., who's the voice of Kanan. So, very cool character. Not a lot of other things besides Rebel she's in, which really annoys me because she's a cool character. So, she was 7th sister. 8th is from Rebels. Okay, so there's no action figure. He's not in the comics. He's not in the books. He just shows up randomly in Rebels, and he, you know, those like circular blades that the Inquisitors have. He like helicopters down with it. He's only in like 1 or 2, maybe 1 episode, but that is who he is, and he doesn't show up in anything else. There's no action figure, nothing. Very mysterious character. Not the only mysterious character we're going to talk about tonight. All right, so that was the 8th Rebel. So the 9th sister, an amazing character, no action figure, but has appeared in many, many, many things. Not many, 2 things. You mostly may know her from the Jedi Fallen Order video game. Is she even on the cover? No, she's not. But she is bulky. She's huge. She's got these red visors that look like, if you're a Dragon Ball Z fan, the scanners look like she has got 2 of them. Very, 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 very cool character. I really enjoy that one. We'll see her in just a bit because we're getting to the point where the characters are going to start to blend together. 10th brother we'll talk about in a bit. He's a blind Inquisitor who was a Jedi who was in the Mace Windu comic. We'll get to him in a moment. Now, so, on the Darth Vader comic book, the second series, the one that takes place right after Revenge of the Sith, dealt a lot with the Inquisitors. And as I mentioned, the Grand Inquisitor was a big deal in this. But there is the 10th brother, the 9th sister, and the one from Ahsoka is the 6th brother. 9th sister there. Like, tell me that doesn't look like a Saiyan Scouter. So they were all over this series, and worth reading. There they are on the cover, with some Purge troopers behind them following Darth Vader. And another shot of them just in action. 6th, 9th, and 10th Inquisitors. Very, very cool. Alright, so the reason that I wanted to do an Inquisitor video in the first place is because this came out last week. Inquisitors Rise of the Red Blade by Delilah S. Dawson, who is an amazing, amazing author who did the Phasma novel and the sequel, Black Spire, that is about Batuu, the area from Disney World that's Star Wars. And I don't like cash grabs, but that's a particularly good one. It's actually a nice story. I really enjoyed that one. So I bring that up because in the Darth Vader series, as it went along, they were introduced. Now, this is a book that just came out like a week ago, but years ago, they were introduced in the Darth Vader comic series. And there you see Tulan and Ikrat, the main characters from the novel Rise of the Red Blade. Ikrat has a red skin. I mean, I feel like they're trying to say she's Sith, but not. Like actually the Sith species, but not. I have not finished the book. I'm really only like a fifth of the way through it. So you may know more than me if you finished it. Tulan, I think as it is. He is there. He's a Twi'lek with like inky black skin, which I think is really cool. The thing that's striking about Twi'leks is the color of their skin. They're very bright. They pop. They work good in cartoons. They work good in movies. But in comic books, to have that like just straight black, like they have to put blue in there, like Superman or Batman's hair, just to make sure that you can see that it's three-dimensional. But he's a big part of that novel. Now, of course, they're fringe characters, so Darth Vader does find them up to some shenanigans to be continued. I just wanted to show another shot of them because, you know, obviously they get into a fight with Vader. There is Tulan, is that right? Am I saying it right? He's got maybe an extra vowel in there, but I mean, he looks monstrous. I mean, like, what a perfect Sith. He doesn't even need a helmet. He doesn't even need a helmet. It looks amazing. I love that character showed up in a book, and I hope they do a backstory to him one way or the other. Sorry, that comic was rocket powered. Let's get back to where I was. Okay, so there is the 10th brother from Mace Windu, which I'll show in a second. Darth Vader just straight up cuts his arm off and then straight up is like, oh, it's only an arm. These guys went through some rigorous training. Segue into Mace Windu comic, which takes place much, much before. The reason that I mention this is one of the many times, not many times, few times, that you see a Jedi before they become an Inquisitor. So he had a long history. He's blind. You can see. He did a couple of bad things, and the Jedi Council tries him. So that is the history of that character. Now, there are two unknown Inquisitors. Now, first off, I mentioned Ikrat and Tulan. Who are they? Is one of them the first brother or sister? Are the 11th and 12th brother or sister? There are two more, like I mentioned. In the Tales of the Jedi animated series that went along with Clone Wars, Ahsoka comes up against an Inquisitor who has a very unique look and is not in anything else. We don't know anything about that character. Speaking of Ahsoka, the Ahsoka TV show that's coming out later on next month also features an Inquisitor that no one knows anything about. Who is this person? He or she or what? Brother, sister? Who knows? It's going to be awesome to find out. I cannot remember the name. Martin Blackwell was really nice to show me a picture of the Lego Ahsoka stuff and was like, that's the character we're talking about. Who knows who that is? I will tell you right now, I will freak out if it's Barriss Opie, because man, that would be cool. She went rogue and in the Clone Wars and kind of became a little evil. And people thought in the Fallen Order that this would end up being her. It wasn't. So Barriss Opie's out there. As far as we know, I mean, she wouldn't have been a target at Order 66. I need that story to come to a close. This has been not a short, I think I went a little bit lengthier than I expected to, episode of Universe Expanding Books and Toys, but I wanted you to know all the Inquisitors that we know so far. They're great characters, and I love them very, very much. Enjoy your night, enjoy your day, enjoy your week, wherever you are. Remember that the Force will be with you always.